Revenge films.
My name is Jessica Smith. On that day, in order to go for my pregnancy checkup, I was headed to the clinic on the train. My checkups used to be once every 4 weeks, and then they became once every 2 weeks, and now they were once a week. That almost felt like a countdown until I could meet my beloved baby, and I was on cloud 9. Perhaps that excitement was on my face, because when I was on the train, there was an old man who looked like he clearly was in a bad mood, and he glared at me and stared directly at me. Since I was pregnant and the train was a little bit crowded, the old man with a cane and I sat next to each other in the priority seats.
My goodness, young people these days are so spoiled. When I was younger, even if a lady was pregnant, she would be standing on the train.
The old man was muttering under his breath, but for talking to himself, he was speaking rather loudly. I froze while sitting there, but the old man looked over at me and sneered again. His cell phone then rang, and even though we were inside of a quiet train car, he answered his phone like it was nothing. This was immediately after an announcement had just echoed from the train to please avoid speaking on the phone in the car. It was clearly against basic train etiquette, but the old man spoke loudly as if he wanted everybody to hear.
I see. So you want to talk to me? Because I've looked over so many businesses until now as a landlord. You've got a good eye, huh? Well, I do have a preschool now, and even though they're saying the birth rate is declining, looks like there are a lot of young folks around that are just popping them out. It'll turn into good money.
As he snickered when he said, "popping them out," like he was making fun of childbirth, he looked over at me. I don't like that this man is the owner of a preschool. There is no way I would ever put my child into a preschool owned by somebody like this. The old man got off at the same station as me. It seems like he was also heading towards the taxi stand, and so we started walking in the same direction. A pregnant woman and an old man with a cane. We were walking at about the same speed. We were also sitting next to each other on the train, so our distance was already quite close. I couldn't help but be bothered by the old man, whose gaze I could feel right on my back. I wanted to run and make some distance, but I was already in my 36th week, and my stomach was quite large already. If I were to trip and fall, what would happen? I was so scared that I couldn't even walk faster. However, more than anything, I was starting to get scared. Without thinking, in order to make some distance between the old man and I started walking a little bit faster. But at that moment, to make me panic even more, the old man walked faster and was breathing down my neck. I'm almost at the taxi stand. As long as I can get there.
Hey, I'm in a rush. Move! Unlike a woman like you, as a business owner, my time is a lot more valuable. So let me get the first taxi.
As he said that, the old man walked past me, and I felt his cane hook around my ankle. What? I panicked as I fell over. I tried to protect my stomach. Luckily, I didn't seem like I would miscarry. However, I was so shocked and so terrified that I froze on the spot. I could hear the old man's cane going further and further away as though nothing had happened. Are you okay? Not long after that, a kind woman came over, and she helped me get up. Yes, I was so stunned I could barely speak, but the woman introduced herself to me. Hi, my name is Michelle. Your body, are you sure you're okay? Yes, I was really shocked, but it looked like I'm okay. I can only imagine. I was shocked too. I'm very sorry I was unable to stop him. Here, this is my business card. Miss Michelle handed me her business card. Apparently, she was the principal of the preschool nearby. She could tell I was confused, so then she... Actually, that old man, that's my father-in-law. What? At home, he's quiet, almost like a cat. But I had heard that he was a different person outside. I didn't think that it was this bad, though. I'm going to make sure that my father-in-law apologizes to you somehow. I finally got to the hospital for my checkup. I explained that I had just fallen, and they did a more thorough checkup than usual this time.
It looks like the baby is okay. You have nothing to worry about. Everything is fine.
The exam took a lot longer than usual, and when it was finally over, the doctor told me these words. I couldn't help but let out tears of relief. 2 days later, on a weekday in the middle of the afternoon, the old man came by himself to my house to apologize. Perhaps he purposely aimed for this time that my husband was at work and I was home alone.
Hey, you fatty! Looks like we meet again. What a treat that you knew my son's wife. The world sure is small. I guess I can look past your terrible attitude and let you go this time because I'm so forgiving.
I thought he was here to apologize, but for some reason, as soon as he opened his mouth, the old man started to belittle me.
Not only that, but I heard that your little baby was fine. And yet, you're looking for an apology. You should have some shame, young folks these days. Oh, wait a minute. Were you trying to get money out of me?
And the old man started to look around my front door.
Yeah. It looks like you don't have much money anyway. And yet, look at you, trying to have a child. I guess they always say that the poorer the family, the more kids they end up with.
What on earth is your problem? I thought you came here to apologize after Miss Michelle spoke to you.
Why should I have to apologize? I have a kind personality, so I was kind enough to come and check on this stupid pregnant woman who just happened to trip over my cane and fall.
I was furious with what he was saying, so I secretly pulled out my cell phone and started to record the conversation. The old man continued to say awful things to me, but I thought that maybe this recording might come in handy, so I held back my anger and just listened. To my disbelief, this old man was yelling nonsense at me for close to an hour, and in the end, he didn't give any sort of apology and left. After the old man walked away, I immediately contacted Miss Michelle, and I copied and pasted the recording to her. When Miss Michelle heard the recording and what I had told her, she seemed appalled. I understand. As it turns out, even though the old man was bragging so much about being a landlord and a business owner, in reality, he had married into that family, and he couldn't even lift a head to his wife. Perhaps as a result of that, he was always in a bad mood. And any time he would find a woman that seemed like a weak target, he would take out his frustrations on them. But that situation is none of my business. What if my precious baby was affected? There's a chance that she could have been killed. I didn't want any other pregnant woman to deal with the same situation, and so I vowed to stand my ground and fight. A few days later, apparently Miss Michelle spoke to her mother-in-law for me, and Miss Michelle, the old man, and his wife came over to our house together. From the very beginning, the old man was ready to fight, and he started to get at me. Even though we were meant to have a conversation, things quickly heated up. Right in front of the taxi stand, you tried to cut in front of me, and you purposely hooked your cane onto me, didn't you?
What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about!
That is what my husband is saying, so I assume you have proof? An older woman in a very refined kimono questioned me in a quiet but stern voice. Yes, I have a witness, and it's Miss Michelle. It's exactly as Miss Smith says. I was a witness to the incident from start to finish. I see. So do you have any idea now?
You have to believe me. I would never do such a thing. Oh, that's right. You know how kind I am to young children and mothers because I have a preschool, right? That's why...
Instead of letting him finish, I pulled out my cell phone to press on the play recording.
That's what I said, you fat woman! I bet you were just trying to blame me, and you're trying to get money out of me, aren't you? And first of all, this is your fault anyway for walking like a sloth, and that's why I hooked my cane on your ankle.
In the next moment, the old man's decisive words echoed throughout my living room. The other day, the old man must have got carried away, and in that 1-hour rant that he went on, his mouth slipped a number of times, and Miss Michelle's mother-in-law immediately changed her expression. It looks like you can't talk your way out of this one now.
Wait, please, you have to forgive me. I promise I'll apologize.
If you're going to apologize, it should be to Miss Jessica Smith. Isn't that right? As long as she doesn't forgive you, then I will also be leaving you.
I'm sorry, Miss Jessica. I was just having a bad day and I got a little bit carried away.
Do you think that just because you're having a bad day, that it's okay for you to hook your cane around pregnant women's ankles? You don't have any other excuses, do you? I'm never going to forgive you for that.
Please forgive me. My wife is... If she says something, she'll definitely do it.
You liar. You big liar. I'll never forgive you. Now please get out. Right now. Go. After that, the old man came and tried to confront me by himself a number of times, but I either pretended not to be home or I'd force him away. Within a month, apparently the old man's wife really did cut off all ties with him. The only thing that was left for the old man was apparently just the right to running the preschool.
Please, Miss Jessica, you have to help me. My wife found out that I was embezzling money, and with this incident, at this rate, the rights to the preschool, then if that were to happen...
The old man was pale as he started shaking from head to toe. He had aged a lot in a short time, and his clothes were weathered. Apparently, he was really starting to struggle to make ends meet. After being cut off from the family he married into, he was kicked out. So of course this was the result. Why should I have to help you? If anything, I was relieved from the bottom of my heart that a person like you was no longer running a preschool. The old man got down on his knees and apologized with his forehead to the ground. However, I refused to forgive him. I would never want to leave my children with somebody who couldn't respect pregnant women. If somebody like that were to be involved in business, then I'm certain that something would go wrong. I think that he needs to spend the rest of his life regretting the fact that he almost took away a young life, without even recognizing the weight of it.
Sorry! I'm sorry! Forgive me!
Never!
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.